I am going to be doing the Desert Island tag. This was created by Jay from Captured from Words. He is a creator that when I first started BookTube, I saw and I was like, this is incredible, and I think he's only improved as the years have gone on, so I think that you should highly recommend that you check him out and see his like amazing editing and just amazing content as well. But I'm going to jump right in. The first question is childhood favorite, and this is the idea that we're going to bring these books on a desert island, and this is our reading things. Don't think too much about the fact that I'm bringing all of these books with me to a desert island. We don't need food, we don't need anything. We can survive on the sustenance of thought and imagination. So the first question is childhood favorite, and for this I'm going to bring the Anne of Green Gables series. This is the first in the series, and I think that Anne of Green Gables is a series that shows who I am as the best, and it is something that gives me comfort and gives me solace more than anything. I love the idea that Lucy Maud Montgomery, who came through a lot of trauma herself, wrote about a character who had gone through trauma but had a lot of redemptive optimism and believed that she could escape the harsh realities of the world through imagination and through trying to see the world as a better place, even though she had no reason to believe that the world was good because all of her experiences had been bad. And I think that if I'm slowly starving to death on an island in Lonesome, I will need a friend like Anne. And there's 8 books, so I think that I can get through a lot of it and have that as well. The next one is to the question of something funny to keep us from not dying. I'm alone, I am dying alone here. So I'm going to be sustaining my own sanity by reading something funny. And for this, I'm going to have The Princess Bride. This is a book by William Goldman. It is probably one of my favorite books that I just enjoy reading over and over again. I've actually never finished it. There's a long story behind this. Every time I pick it up, I always just start from the beginning and read over it in one sitting and read as much as I can read in one sitting, and then I start again, and it's such an enjoyable experience. And since I already know the ending to the movie, it doesn't bother me, and it's just always so full of laughter and beauty and wonderfulness, and I adore it so much. Anyways, and I think that it would make me laugh, the little spiels, everything else. It would just entertain me relentlessly. Question number 3 asks you to bring something classic, and I love classics so much, and there's many that I could choose from, but for this one I'm going to choose Elizabeth and Her German Garden by Elizabeth von Arnim. This is a book that took me by surprise this year, and it is set in the late 19th century, and it deals with a lot of feminism, but very low-key feminism, as she's just wants to go by herself and garden and be away from things, and it has a lot of conversations. There was a woman that is made fun of in the novel for writing and thinking that these things are interesting, and she's writing under a male pseudonym, and it just pokes fun at itself so much that I just enjoy it and love it. And it kind of reminds me a lot of Lucy Maud Montgomery's writing, that it's quite of whimsical but not super whimsical, and just it's beautiful. And I think that if I was in nature, I would like to read it, and it would give me some solace, even as a huge extrovert, to be reading about this person who just wants to have the quietness of soul in nature. So I think that would help. Next question has to do with something epic, and it is asking us to read an epic fantasy series that is long and going to sustain you for a very long time. The issue is that I actually haven't read that many complete series. It's kind of embarrassing, since fantasy is my favorite genre, that I haven't read many huge, massive series of fantasy. And for this one, I'm going to choose the Seven Realms series, and I'm going to hope that I can pack on the other series that is connected to this, because that would make it 8 series, because there's 4 and it's in 2 different time periods, but there are 4 series, and this is one of my favorite series of all time. It is incredibly hyped, and I absolutely love it, and I think that I could reread it many, many times, and a sequel series as well. So that is what I'm going to choose for this. A fantasy world that you would like to get lost in. And there are a lot of fantasy worlds that I would get lost in, but the one that I discovered this year that I am completely enamored with happens to be Nevermore from Jessica Townsend. Nevermore, The Trials of Morgan Crow, and also appears in her second book as well, and it is so whimsical and beautiful and just full of magic. And if you want to read an amazing middle grade series, I highly recommend it. She's supposed to write something 10 books. The 3rd one is coming out in February, and I cannot wait. It is just so masterfully done, and the world building is excellent and lovely, and I feel like I could read it and be happy and cry for the children that we'll never have, because I will die on this desert island alone. But it will be okay, because I will die in happy disillusionment and escapement. Number 7, the question of completion when we die slowly and dreadfully, we have our last question, and it is down the rabbit hole. Read an unfinished series that will just drive you crazy until you actually do die on this island. And when I made this list before I filmed it, this series hadn't been completed. It now has, but I think this is the best one because I haven't read it yet. So I feel like I would be pretty not okay if I never got the conclusion to this series, and that would be The Toll by Neil Shusterman, the last book in the arc of the Scythe. So if I had Thunderhead and Scythe, I would reread them over and over and over again, and I'd be very happy, but I'd always want to know what the end is. And I think that Neil Shusterman, this is one series that I don't necessarily know how this book is going to conclude, so it would be even worse. A lot of series, even though I'd be sad that I would never be able to finish them, I have a pretty good idea how they're going to finish. I feel like this might be very unpredictable. Yeah, have a great day, happy reading and writing, and I will see you very, very soon. Bye.